scenes of public drunkenness and violence are a regular part of children's everyday life. So are sexual assaults and rape against minors, acts that often go unpunished. Cancun's impoverished and seldom publicized suburbs can be seen, in a way, as modern-day slave camps that fuel the zesty life in the hotel strip. In fact, these marginalized neighborhoods are the perfect breeding grounds to feed the appetite of another worldwide industry, the infamous child sex trade, which, according to the United Nations' latest report, is now firmly rooted in cosmopolitan Cancun. From this belt of shacks, fear, and misery, 5 to 12-year-old boys and girls are habitually recruited, deceived, rented, or sold to provide private entertainment for international and domestic tourism, to make pornographic movies, or simply to disappear forever. Once they joined the thousands of street children who ran from broken homes or were caught in the snares of pimps and mobsters, these youth become anonymous commodities. They exist to quench the insatiable hunger of the thriving sex tourism industry. A pedophile's paradise. That is Cancun's dark side, its best kept secret. Not all international tourism is created equal. Among the millions of visitors who come to Cancun every year, thousands arrive daily to engage in infamous illegal activities that would certainly land them in jail and get them a criminal record in their own countries. According to UNICEF, the United Nations Children's Fund, the city has become one of the continent's main centers for sexual tourism. Minors, especially male and female children, are among the main attractions. So are cheap prices, anonymity, and near-guaranteed impunity. Spanish anthropologist and researcher Miguel Ruiz, specialist in child sex tourism, is currently writing a book about Cancun. He has documented the outrageous proportions and cynical sophistication of the infamous trade. This includes European tours that purchase all-inclusive vacation packages through travel agencies. Customers are even provided with photo catalogs that show children's pictures so they can choose, book, and pay for their encounters in advance, along with other activities like deep-sea fishing or tour to the pyramids. In September 2003, Mexico's leading weekly news magazine, Proceso, released an in-depth, scathing report based on research done by Canadian, American, and Mexican human rights experts. The result? Child sexual tourism in Mexico is growing rapidly. Governments are doing next to nothing to stop it. And society at large either doesn't know about this tragedy or willfully ignores it, opting to live in denial. The scenes we are watching right now allow us a glimpse of what goes on every day in sunny Cancun. They help us see the sinister diversity of the so-called sex trade. Prostitution and abuse hide behind different facades. Organized crime, both domestic and international, controls hundreds of brothels and sex slave houses disguised as bars, cabarets, and massage parlors. Establishments range from the elegant to the shabby. This is where minors are ruthlessly exploited. In the business of marketing innocence to pedophiles, no venue is left unexplored. From paid intercourse with kids to erotic shows featuring minors. From classy preteen escorts to on-demand manufacture of child pornography or expensive private parties with 7-year-old virgins. Although, according to Mexican law, these activities are illegal, impunity reigns unchallenged. Once in a while, however, a pedophile tourist may be caught by police to appease public opinion. Such was the capture of American citizen Peter Santiago, a high-profile case featured in local newspapers. It seems that, in this case, the main problem was not so much that he engaged in paid sex with Mexican children, but that the assiduous visitor was HIV positive and didn't bother telling his victims. Mr. Santiago, a habitual customer for years, infected hundreds. In a rare interview with a human rights activist, a courageous minor and victim of sexual exploitation reveals how she was trapped by a local mafia through catchy paper ads. While the interview is being conducted, both participants are at risk, and they know it. I came to Cancun 2 weeks ago, recounts Jenny. Despite my age, I have an 8-month-old baby. In my hometown, Jalapa, which is 15 hours away by bus, I saw a job ad in the newspaper. A restaurant in Cancun was hiring young ladies to work as waitresses and offered a daycare center for free. When I arrived, things turned out to be very different from what I was offered. There was no restaurant, but only a bar. Instead of a free daycare center for my baby, I was told to leave it in the bar's lobby where a stranger would take care of him while I worked. They charged $60. The most vulnerable targets of the sex trade rings are always local Mayan children. Mexican adolescents from other states or Central American girls smuggled through the southern border as human cargo are also used when the local supply isn't enough. Those who aren't already victims of incest or molestation and haven't been raised in an abusive atmosphere of drugs and alcohol are mostly uneducated, sexually active adolescents struggling to make a living. The supply must keep coming, for the demand is high. The promise of hefty tips while working in expensive restaurants is a favorite lure used by Cancun's pimps, who post deceitful newspaper ads all over the country. If that doesn't get enough victims, they turn to international mafias of people smugglers, and they literally buy the children. The glamour of a seemingly carefree life in the hotel strip is, in itself, another natural trap. A non-stop flow of cash, booze, drugs, and all-day partying appeals to disoriented preteens who have been raised in a sexualized, immediate gratification culture. Therefore, middle-class and well-to-do minors are in no way immune to being caught by the sex trade snares. This was well illustrated in late 2003, when national and international media broke the story of the police crackdown of an international pedophile and pornographic ring among wealthy families in the heart of Cancun's business community. According to published reports of the state's attorney office and newspapers, approximately 20 girls, their ages ranging from 6 to 15, and a few boys, were recruited from a handful of private, expensive schools. The pimp in this case was no street-corner drug pusher, but renowned 65-year-old millionaire Jean Curie, a respected member of the business community, owner of some 200 condominiums, restaurants in the international airport, and of expensive souvenir and clothing stores. Over a period of several years, Jean Curie managed to cajole, bribe, intimidate, and seduce to recruit children for his own personal gratification. He also exploited them to throw lavish private parties for international friends and guests right in the middle of the upscale part of the hotel strip.